No, because then they won't leave.
Please.
All right, sir, if you could please.
We're starting the word of prayer. Get us in prayer, sir.
So we just gonna keep going right now. Guys, welcome to another episode of the Shareholders Podcast, the Money Club edition. We're here, back again, all right? It's Monty, it's Jonesy, it's Omi here. We got a big topic to talk about. First of all, Sister Norwood, how are you doing today? How things going?
Doing good. I'm blessed. Feeling great.
Holding
Happy
down,
Monday.
holding down the fort with the crew, and of course, our resident stockbroker as well as here. All your financial needs. How are you doing, sir?
You know what I'm saying? I'm here representing King Jesus.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? King Jesus. And then the Gucci for the money. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Spiritual money. You get it? Spiritual money.
Spiritual money. Right. Yes.
I'm blessed,
Okay.
man. God is good.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. All right. Now I'm losing my fastball a little bit, man. I got to get back. We trying to rebrand things, and normally we should have talked about this the day I heard about it, and I just let it slip. But if you don't know, there was an announcement a little over a week ago, I think, where Facebook announced that they were going to change the name of Facebook. Totally, speaking of rebranding, like I'm doing, totally rebrand to what's called Meta. Okay, so we're going from Facebook to Meta. So of course, Facebook is the largest social media platform in the world. That had a lot of reverberations, and a lot of people already raised eyebrows and things like that. So we're going to get into that because Facebook is, I guess, it's as big as it gets. So let's just go with our first reactions. I'll say mine. I just remember being like, okay, just to go from Facebook, it was 8 letters, to Meta, they instantly cutting it down. Right. You see, when it's branding, I think about everything. Still 2 syllables, Facebook, Meta, but it's much shorter. Meta, which we'll get into in a minute, the definition of all that, is much more a newer term and terminology. Facebook is a new terminology, but it's still a space, it's book, like that. So I thought that was very interesting for myself. So Naomi, what did you think when you first heard that they were literally going to change their name?
I think for me, because I'm not a techie person, and I like Facebook. I'm on Facebook a lot. I post a lot of stuff about my family, so my family back in Michigan can keep up with the stuff. So for me, I don't like change when it comes to, tech stuff. So I'm a little nervous to see if it's something I'm even going to continue to use, or if it's going to be to my liking. Am I going to be able to catch on to whatever changes that they're going to make? I know they're changing the name, but I'm sure they're going to be changing a lot more of their features as they go. So, I mean, I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings if I'm going to like it or what it's all going to be about.
Okay, Jonesy, what did you think about when you first heard the name change?
Well, because he's a techie guy and he's evolving, it took my mind right to that movie that I just watched called Bliss. I don't know if you've seen Bliss with your girl Salma Hayek and what's his name? The other guy's name. The guy who plays in other movies with Jackie Chan. He's a comedian. If you haven't seen the movie, honestly, that'd be a good movie to watch. Bliss.
Oh, Bliss.
I watched this movie Bliss. It was on Amazon Prime.
Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson and
Owen Wilson.
Salma Hayek. Yes.
So the movie, it takes you to what, and then there's another movie out too. There's another movie about, I forgot what that one was called, but this movie Bliss though is basically, it's like taking your mind to a whole nother universe. It's a digital universe. Like when they were walking around in this new community, the way they get there is they took a pill and they put on these, like, I think I don't know if it's the goggles or whatever they go into, and they literally into a whole nother world, which is it's actually like on Earth. The way they're saying the way metaverse will work, it's unbelievable. Like you can be in your room and like holograms can pop up. You can talk to other people in that world. That movie Bliss, it just took my mind to that movie Bliss, which is crazy. It's like living in that type of world digitally. It's crazy.
So it's very interesting because I was listening to a podcast today about this thing, and I was reading some articles and things, and there's almost, which is almost, you can't even believe this, there's 3 billion almost people who use Facebook, they say, which is, I mean, it's almost like half the earth almost, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, does half the earth have internet? I'm like, I guess, you know, because there's just a lot of places where people struggling to eat and barely got running water, but you know, that's generally the consensus. The issue is Facebook was started in 2004, Mark Zuckerberg, you know, good movie to check out if you want. Social Network will take you the whole formation of that. That's a very good movie to check out. And it changed the game. Okay,
Right.
now let me ask you this real quick. Did anybody have MySpace? Naomi, did you have MySpace?
I did have MySpace, yeah.
Okay. So let me tell you real quick. I couldn't grasp MySpace. Like MySpace, you had to be, to me, like a real tech person to change your music and I could not get MySpace. Jones, did you have MySpace?
I think I tried it, but never really used it. It's like
I
having Yahoo.
never. Okay, so good. This is why it's good to have. So Naomi, when they went, you know, it was MySpace. They got a lock on the junk, and all of a sudden, Facebook pops up. What did you think then when we were going from MySpace and then Facebook started taking over?
You know, to be honest, for me, not to be techie, I like MySpace. Like I used to have the music, change the sounds and the backgrounds and everything, have pictures, like, you know, scrolling and everything. And I didn't join Facebook when it first came out. I want to say I probably really didn't join until maybe 2006, 2007, maybe, if that. And it was hard for me to get used to. I don't like change. I'm like stuck in my ways. If I like something, I like it. I don't want nothing to be changed up and for me to have to learn something new. But now that I like it, because I've been a part of, you know, the Facebook community for some time. So I don't know how I'm going to adjust to this new change.
Well, so that was when it was a big, I remember I just could not understand MySpace. I'm like, fine, whatever. But when Facebook came out, for me, it was a little more user friendly. So I did not like the concept of it. So a lot of people don't know. They even wanted, people that know me, my name is not Monty, if you know me, but a lot of people, and let me explain why Monty even came about. I was a little cynical about Facebook. So I said, man, whatever, everybody on this Facebook. I created a fake person on Facebook and I was just pranking people, you know, like people I know. This, again, y'all, this is a different time. Everybody was gullible. So I made up a guy named Lamont, you know, and so then I would like friend one of my friends and start telling their whole life story. They'd be like, oh my goodness, how do you know, are you a scammer? It was hilarious. I had like I've had about a 3-month run of just clowning people. I never changed the name. And once I started doing my real show, people started calling me Monty, and then I get stuck and I couldn't get out. So anyway, that's that. But it feels like what they're doing, from what I understand, is Facebook is like, you know, we're a little too old. You know, young people now do not use Facebook. I've talked to kids at our academy school. Facebook, you might as well be talking Chinese. They're like Facebook. They'll say this, like, I think my parents are on Facebook, you know, and kids don't really want to be on the same thing their parents. That's been from the beginning of time. So part of this is Facebook is, and that's why Facebook bought Instagram. They bought Instagram a couple of years ago. They're like, okay, let's try it because young people on Instagram. But now, when I'm going to get into some things on Instagram, but now it's like there's TikTok, there's Snapchat, and Facebook is like, we have to try to court the young people that we feel like we're losing, because now, I mean, it is kind of, would y'all agree that Facebook is kind of more of the older platform for old, you know, it seems like older people have it, you know?
I just think that with the way the world works, fast food generation, everything goes into a fad. Like even if I can answer the question that you asked Naomi, you were the one who introduced me to Facebook. If you don't remember, when we came here in town, I never had a Facebook, and you was like, Charles, I can't believe you never heard of Facebook. It was years before I even knew about Facebook. I was like, I didn't know what it was, and you the one who introduced me to Facebook.
I'm sorry about it. That's my bad. Okay.
I don't even use the account right now, though. It's kind of funny because I use Instagram more. I have a TikTok app, but I have not used that yet. You know, but yeah, me and my
okay. And let's get to that confession there. So what are you using right now, Jones? What if you got to go to one, what do you use?
I'm only on Instagram.
Instagram is what you prefer. And Naomi, you prefer Facebook.
I use Facebook, I use Instagram, and I use TikTok. I don't have Snapchat. That doesn't, I don't know, appeal to me at all. I don't use Twitter.
Oh,
None of that.
sorry.
Just Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
I am primarily Instagram. Somebody on my staff does my TikTok for me. I'll check in on TikTok, but they do that for me. I have a Facebook. I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of done with Facebook. I haven't really posted in a while. I got more followers through Instagram, so I started focusing on Instagram. So for me, this change, I know they're trying to like really move with the times. Let's get into some problematic things with Facebook, because Facebook has been under fire for a long time, because there have been, there's information that's out there where, not just even the election. I know everybody's thinking I'm just going election, but even with just like propaganda and people saying things, when there's over 2-3 billion people, folks can be influenced, and they're feeling like Facebook was not really guarding, all the information that was getting out to people. And they were very much criticized, and, congressional hearing. Huh?
They had that whistleblower that came out.
Right. A lot of issues with that. And that's what a lot of these social media platforms, they have to be, it can't be the wild, wild west, because Russian bots, whatever you want to say about that. So let me ask you guys this. Do you trust Facebook? Like, do you trust just overall? And Naomi, you probably be best to start with this, since you use it maybe a little more than us. Do you feel like you trust, not just that they're keeping your information safe, which they kind of are not, but do you trust the things that you see and hear as authentic when you're on Facebook?
I would say no. I think that I think it's weird, because like if I search for certain things, like, just in my search engine, like if I'm like shopping or something, it's weird how it can just pick up and put that stuff in my Facebook ads and stuff. And anyone can post anything. Like people can put stuff out there. Like there's different groups that you can be a part. Anyone can start a group too and get followers and, post their own information. Like I think I read an article before about, parents that are against vaccinations, in general. And they have a huge following, and a lot of that information is just not true information, but because someone sees it on Facebook and they see that, oh, there's like, thousands in this group, this information may be, accurate, and they, tag along and start following. So I'm very skeptic on anything that I read on Facebook. It's mostly just for like, following family back in Michigan, seeing what's going on, like, when they have family gatherings. I really don't pay attention to like anybody's posts when they post long articles or sayings and stuff like that. Like that doesn't impact me. I'm not a follower, I guess, when it comes to like certain things that people put out there on the internet, unless it's from like a reputable source.
So well said. I totally agree with that. Jonesy, do you trust Mr. Zuckerberg and the crew over there?
Well, so for me, it's not a matter of if I trust them. I just think that Facebook is another platform like CNN and Fox News.
Mhm.
Everybody, the only difference is I don't think it's jaded one way or the other. With Fox News, I know I'm going to get that more to the right. CNN, I'm going to get information more to the left. Facebook is just kind of like a conglomerate of everybody. Everybody's opinions on there. Anything can be put out there. Any type of information can be put on there. It's a platform for anything. So it's not so much if I trust him or not. I mean, I think I trust that he's moving forward, advancing technology and You know what I'm saying? He's just trying to make money, trying to get people together, social media and all that stuff. I don't the moment they try to make it a political thing, that's when I don't trust it. You know what I'm saying? If politics get involved, but to say if I trust him or not is nothing that I'm guarded with it. I mean, once I put my information out there, I know my information is, people are going to see it. You know what I'm saying? Your information is, people put their whole life on Facebook. So I don't know what am I not supposed to or to with? What you know what I'm saying? What are we asking? Like, what do we trust him with what?
Well, okay. Because I heard some people, they said, like these, some of these researchers, they made up like a dummy account, Sharon Smith or whatever. And with just a few likes of certain things, they said that Facebook immediately started directing this person to like far right, political things, even though, like you say, the fake person wasn't trying to say I'm Republican or all like that, but they were just like, if you just go to a certain thing, all of a sudden, like Naomi said, where you might just be looking for like shoes and things like that. They're saying that Facebook will push hard for certain things. And they're
It was like Google then. It's just basically like if they're listening in to what you're searching, it will cater towards what you like. So
right.
it's
But
just,
in this case, there are, on Google, Google is more product based. This is more belief based. This is what I was just reading the article about with that.
right.
And of course, they've come under fire for a lot of things, because you got to understand, as much as everybody's like, it's just, it is supposed to be like what Naomi talked about. Talk with your family, catch up, have some fun. But just think about this. If there's 2 billion people out there and I have an agenda that I like to reach, I mean, at the end of the day, man, these are still the hearts of men, and these are still people that can be swayed. I don't know. I just don't know if I trust anybody that much with that much power to speak something to. I'll tell you what really shook me, and this has nothing to do with Facebook, but if you got an iPhone, this was years ago. I just remember waking up one day and I had a U2 album on my iPhone.
Still have it on mine. It would not, I don't know how to get it off.
Hello, thank you. And I mean, that was the eye-opening thing. Like, you didn't.
That's hilarious.
You literally, I'm for real. You woke up and then your thing. I'm like, where did U2?
Yes.
You couldn't get it off.
Never ever listen to that type of music. And it's weird. Like sometimes when my phone connects to the car, that starts playing on the radio, and I'm like, where is this coming from? Yes.
That's funny right there.
And that, I remember that
subliminal message. Listen to YouTube.
Yeah, like we just gone, you know what I'm saying? And that shook me right then. I said, okay.
That's why I'm a Galaxy guy, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, first of
all. But it's weird because it follows you from iPhone to iPhone. Like for a while, I stopped having iPhone and I had Galaxy, but then I switched back to iPhone and it followed. It's still coming up on my phone to this day.
Yes, like that's when things I said, okay. Now they, you know what I'm saying? Now they kind of pushing the envelope. So also then there's been some issues with Instagram and things where they talked about the negative effects just on young people, where I heard a guy make such a good point. He said, you understand, in our parents, he was around my age. He said, in my parents' day, it's like my mother knew her neighbor and the people that she went to play bingo with, or you go to church with, you know what I mean? And you knew your family. He said, now you post something and 300 people dogging your shoes out or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was just saying how young people are not really ready for what social media can bring and the pressures and a lot of this crazy stuff of people, I don't like what you got on, or I like, in searching for that approval, which I do agree, because I'm like, if I was a kid with all this, I don't even know, Lord Jesus, what I'd be doing. Like, I mean, it just, there's a lot of pressure. And so they're saying that kids do like TikTok more, because TikTok it's not really like we like your shoes or all, it's just like videos, having fun, stuff like that. There's even this thing called Roblox, where that's kind of a big thing. I don't know, maybe y'all kids have it, where it's like games and you can create your own thing. And so the powers that be see this and they're saying, well, we got to figure out a way to keep courting these young people, because, I mean, I believe it was Whitney and Randy Watson. They said, I believe the children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. So Meta is really where Facebook is trying to just say, okay, Y'all had one brand, because I know they probably tested like, hey kids, what do you think about Facebook? Either they hear what is that, or that's for old people. And a company even as big as them, they have to keep moving forward. But I think that ultimately, I don't want to sound like an old guy, but I just feel like, man, I kind of miss the days where we just knew each other and you could go out in the street and play and all that. I know, God, I say like kids don't play in the street no more. I know I sound old, but it seemed like they don't. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all got kids, and now y'all tell me, like, do you have?
Heck no. Listen, so we talked about me and my wife talked about the other day, like being able to just play and come home in the street. Like now, obviously, it was different from boys versus girls, and growing up in Detroit, you know what I'm saying. All you had to do is be home right before the streetlights came home. Man, I can't believe, especially during that time. I was during a time when you had to worry about the kidnap van. You saw some mysterious van driving through the neighborhood. You knew that was a kidnapper. At least that's what we thought. That's what the stereotype was. Certain kind of vans was a van that was kidnapping people. But growing up in Detroit, man, back in the 80s, we was on the streets. I was on different blocks. We wasn't worried about that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But now, I ain't never let my kids be walking home or catching the bus. Like, it's so funny. We said, I saw a kid walking home from school, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that kid got to walk home from school or walk to the bus stop.
Yeah.
They're little kids can barely carry a backpack on their back, and they're walking up and down the road by themselves.
Yeah. I think we spoil our kids. That's probably what it is. I told my kids I'm gonna take them to the store one day and just let them go in the store and just go in there by themselves to buy something, just to train them to be able to be independent. But our kids are a little spoiled though. Our generation.
Well, it's a different day, and it's so crazy because my mother used to really be strict on us. But then when we would go to Gary, Indiana, the murder capital of the world at that time, all just go run the streets, do anything. My grandmother would give 7 of us $5 to live on to come home with, and we would survive. We'd be in the store getting I'm
telling you,
all in the street, in people's houses and mess.
Yeah, dude, what's that, man?
And you know what I'm saying? Like, and then we just come back home, like you say, street lights come on, with nothing. But
I know.
I worry about the kids. When I heard that guy talk about it, just the pressure. I don't know what it's like to have somebody post something about me as a kid, and then the next day the whole school's talking about,
right.
I don't know, or trying to look at a rapper or a singer and then dress like it's a lot to deal with. So I do feel like these social media platforms need to be responsible in terms of trying their best to keep things, and you can't guard your kids from everything anyway, but keep things to a point, because there again, and we can talk about online predators, and we've heard some of the horror stories with that as well. But I'm just curious to see if what Facebook is going to do is going to affect some other companies as well. I'm sure there's going to be a trickle down financially in terms of that. I know Jones, you was probably gonna.
That's one of the major things about metaverse.
Right.
I'm saying, like, the fact that you even mentioned Roblox. I don't know if you understand how Roblox works. I only downloaded the app once for my kids.
You know how I know how it works? Little Joe Paulo Wakash broke me down on it. He told me everything about it. So yeah,
you can build your own world.
Yes.
In there. And that's why that will be one. So the whole thing about metaverse, Meta and metaverse, the way it's going to change, they already have platforms saying this is what you need to buy that's going to blow up, the stocks that you need to buy that's going to blow up because of metaverse. You know what I'm saying? Roblox being one of them. Because Roblox already have the type of platform, the gamings that metaverse is gonna get into. You know what I'm saying? You building your own world. There's now you can actually buy digital land. You can own land.
I heard about
these platforms. So it's gonna change the whole game. Like the the Oculus, the whole VRs, headsets, different stocks. That's gonna bring about trillions of dollars in the next coming years. So that's my whole point of talking about metaverse, how it's going to blow up the economy.
Go ahead, keep going on it though. That's the last part.
So that being one of them, you know what I'm saying? The gamings is a lot, you know what I'm saying? Being able to buy land, like I said, inside of the metaverse. And then of course their stocks number 1, number 2. But my thing is I haven't dove into understanding all they're gonna do yet because they just announced it. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like we're on the journey with them, you know?
Yeah. Well, okay. There's a book that I read called Ready Player One. They made a movie about it. Now, Ready Player One, I can't remember if there was a war, whatever happened, where we didn't have expansive cities anymore. People were crammed into cities. They were living basically in trailers, and very much the outside world was very poor. Everything was done in virtual reality. Like you put on your headset, you become the person you want to be. You can work, you can learn. Kids go to school with the virtual. Everything. I mean, there's a real world, but everything's virtual. And it was amazing how vivid this world was, to where your avatar person, you know, I mean, you could do anything. You know what I mean? You could be anything you wanted. You know, it's all currency. I mean, people have real jobs and all that. And so it became, that's what this meta thing is what is real and what is not real. What is, you know what I'm saying? So we believe, like, you know, we get up, we go to our job. That's real, right? You know, don't be on that game all day. But what if you could go to your job in the game and get paid?
And that's what the change is.
And that's where I feel like we're really.
That's why I was talking about needing to watch that movie Bliss. That movie, and there's another movie, if I can remember it, I will have to text it to you, but it's another movie that came out, and it kind of reminded me, if it was, and it's not about Apple, but it reminded you of a Steve Jobs type of movie. This girl, she agreed to be followed everywhere. Her whole life would be all on, like, it's almost like a YouTube channel, but her whole life she agreed to be followed and to go online, to go live or go online. And her whole life was online. Everything she did. And that movie it just reminded me of what you know, he's doing right now with this metaverse. So it's
okay. Now let me ask you, I don't know, you or Naomi, do you guys watch anybody on YouTube, you know, a famous couple? Or I know, Jones, you got some like financial guys, but like, do you watch anybody that kind of does that, where, or follow anybody on like YouTube where they put their whole life out there, basically? You know what I mean? Like, there's a couple that I used to check out, a little young couple. I don't know why they're so young and so ridiculous. Ken and De'Ara. I used to follow Ken and De'Ara sometime. I know young people gonna know who I'm talking about. And then they broke up, and I said, how? But Ken and De'Ara broke up, and I'm talking about, they wasn't like no, you know, 30,000 viewers, like 3 million, 4 million. They was huge, but chronicled their whole life, which 10 years ago, that was unheard of. Like, why would you be watching somebody just, you know, we're going on a trip, or we're going to try these hot chips or whatever. Do y'all follow anybody, or do you know of anybody like that currently right now? Like, do you know anybody like that?
I do not currently follow anybody on YouTube, but I do see like a lot of people like on TikTok that have like the huge following.
What am I talking
that
about?
Also have YouTubes, you know, that they promote their YouTubes and stuff. So
right, no, you are the person. I'm up here asking about you, the person, right? Where, you know, your home. Not again, come on, you don't tell all your business, but you know, you share some of the things the kids do, and it gets a response. And I guess what's amazing is the fact that it would have seemed weird 10 years ago to be like, I want to like post my kids online and they're just singing a song and people are going to watch it. You're like, nobody will watch that. Why would
or driving to church, or the girls just saying God bless you. Like,
yeah.
Like I'm just like, why do people like to watch this stuff? But okay, thank you. But you know, I still don't understand it. Like, you know, because I'm on TikTok and I barely ever like people's stuff. Ever. Unless I know you, I'm gonna support you. But like, I'm the one person that would just keep going.
Stingy with your likes.
I'm horrible. I know it's an issue that I need to work on, but you know.
Right.
But like, so I just wonder, like, why do people stop and like my stuff? Like, I guess I should, you know, return the favor. But
yeah.
But that's how society has changed. Jonesy, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a time a video game came out, Lord. I think it was called Resident Evil. And a lot of the brothers, we went to Kamal Franklin's house.
Kamal Sajudeen.
And the thing was, it was a one-player game, but we had never seen a game like a scary video game like this.
Right.
So it was a ton of us just watching one guy play the game. Like, it wasn't like we was even taking turns. And I remember thinking, like, this is like, what are we doing? But it was so entertaining to watch. And now, of course, we know it's Twitch and there's so many platforms where you can watch people do stuff. But I remember this was before Facebook. This was years. I was in college, and it was so entertaining and as much as I love to play the games, it was really entertaining. Just, oh my God, bro, what you doing watching that? I don't know if you was there that day.
I wasn't at that one.
We was so deep, and I believe that's where we are now, to where people like to live vicariously. Like, you know, Naomi, they might see your kids and maybe they don't have kids or they want kids. And this young person like, oh my gosh, I just want to see, they're so cute. And they're kind of living vicariously in a weird way through you guys, just enjoying your life. And I think, and that's what that book, and there's a movie called Ready Player One, the movie's not a good book, but that's really what it was, is being able to be somebody you're not. You know, maybe if your life isn't so great, but in the virtual world, virtual world, I'm somebody, you know what I'm saying? Regular world, I'm not. So yeah, man, I really think this is probably a precursor to a lot more stuff like that coming. Because
now for me, on the people I follow on YouTube are mostly financial people, but I did just start following this one guy. It's so cool, his show, what he does. This man literally travels the whole world. I'm trying to see where his YouTube channel is. But like, obviously, everybody know I follow Mr. Beast because I like Mr. Beast show. His is mostly going around giving away money for people doing random stuff, and then he has a whole bunch of games, him and his friends. And then of course Chris Sang, because he talks about the stocks and whatnot. But and then also Meet Kevin, because Meet Kevin, he breaks down everything that's going on in the economy and doing the stock. But this is one guy. He literally goes to I think he might have even started during COVID. He got stuck in another foreign country during COVID, because what he does is he goes to all these little swap meets or whatever you want to call them, and try to buy name brand purses for cheap, though the knockoff purses. He goes all across the world and buy knockoff brand stuff, Gucci, Louis, Fendi, everything. China, he been Hong Kong, he been Thailand, Iran, he was all over the world, and he's recording it. And then the crazy thing, he has such a great following. The people in those countries know him. They're like, oh, I know you. And it'd be so entertaining. So he's literally going in there, wheeling and dealing the prices off of cheap stuff that ain't for real. And then some of it can be real, like, for example, the stuff that's made in China, that might be Gucci or whatever, he'll get it. The ones that they have not been authorized, he can go in there and he'll buy a $3,000 purse for $50, and he's talking them down to $25. But he goes all over the world. He's pretty entertaining.
Well, okay, and we're about to wrap it up. But think about what you just said. When we were all young people, basically what you're talking about, there used to be a show called Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Yeah.
And you would watch this guy, he would just go and be at these big houses and stuff. And you'll watch it like once a week on TV, and you're like, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What that guy is doing is basically like, maybe you can't travel the world, but watch me travel the world and buy things. And so that's what the beauty of the internet, the beauty of this thing in your hand is, you basically do have the world in your hand. Like, you can watch somebody do something in a different country. I can watch a game. I can go and, you know, I can talk to somebody. We're the internet is still relatively new for a society, and we're now kind of getting into some deeper things. Like, look at this. All three of us can see each other and we can talk to each other. We're in different places. Our parents didn't know that, you know, nobody was doing back in our parents' day, like not even in the 90s really. But now we're kind of stretching the limitations of this thing. So it's an interesting time, again, for good and bad. I really, sometimes I just worry. I tell you, man, like I said to somebody, I'm going to get some cargo shorts. I'm gonna get some camouflage cargo shorts. I said it one day. And when I went on Instagram, an ad for camouflage cargo shorts came up. Now, this is probably 6-7 years ago. And I said, no, I said it's begun. I'm like, they coming for us, y'all. And that's when everything changed right there. So that's why I still have a little trepidation, because I know they be listening, looking, watching everything.
Google all day.
Yeah, it's all of them, man. So, you know, but I guess, you know, the future's coming, so it is what it is. But so any last thoughts on the Facebook revolution and the things that are happening?
Got to find some stocks to invest in. I mean, but it ain't financial advice, because this is a different type of show. But I'm just saying, I would look on some YouTube channels that talks about the metaverse stocks to buy in early, because it's going to be really big. It's going to change the game. The stuff that it's going to launch, and the people that are, virtual land. You can buy that. That to me is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Name any other thoughts before we go?
I'm just interested to learn more about it. I'm just wondering like how it's going to change those that currently use the Facebook platform. The older generation that are not into that whole virtual, creating things and all that weird stuff. So I'm just interested to see how that changes and how many, users they're going to actually lose because, of course, they're trying to appeal to the younger generation. But a lot of times, like, there's no security in place to where younger people can create accounts and just fake their age. Like, there's nothing in place to stop any of that from happening. So I don't know, I think it's going to be interesting on how these changes take place and if it's going to be good or if they're going to lose people that are just not going to be interested.
Let me tell you something before you go too. I'm gonna tell you what I was mad about. I was mad that whoever created Black Planet didn't evolve it like YouTube. Black Planet was the original YouTube.
I remember that in college.
That's what I'm saying. Black Planet,
mess, man. Like
that was the original Facebook. I mean,
Black Planet. Okay, real quick, young people, if you don't know okay. So before, I guess MySpace might have been out, but we used to go in the chat rooms. So it would be like
AOL, wasn't it AOL chat first?
AOL chat. I was on Yahoo chat. And it was just like people literally just typing in the room. I know it seems archaic now, but that was big because you could just, I'm like, wow, folks just out here just randomly talking.
Yes.
I did get catfished by somebody, and I don't want to talk about it. I think I was the first person to ever get catfished. But anyway, yeah, Black Planet was big back then. I don't know what they dropped.
It was huge, man. That's what I'm saying. Whoever created that should have did the same thing that Mark Zuckerberg did.
But what we talking about, like even with MySpace, like MySpace had it. They had the title, and then it just And that's why these companies strive to really stay ahead of the game.
Yeah.
So, Facebook's looking like if we're not getting young people signing up, that's a problem. So we got to change things up. That's part of it. So, guys, check it out. What's up? You had something else?
In the near future, TikTok is going to go public too.
Oh yeah, no, TikTok.
Keep your eye out on that.
Yes, that's actually pretty good to know because TikTok is huge. That's why I'm trying to be on it more. I'm trying to embrace it more, just because I know that's where the move is coming. Like that's where, Naomi, you got on that kind of early, and I wish I had too, but that's the game, y'all. I mean, I always say there was a time when if you made saddles for horses, you were a rich man because everybody rode a horse. But the car came and them guys brought, there's still horses out there, but now times change, careers change, people's tastes change. So, we're just trying to talk about it. Guys, check us out. I know we be sporadic a little bit with the shareholders, but that's because we are again rebranding. Me and Tiff, we rebranded some things. We're going to try to bring things together. Plus, we got some new shows coming on the network. We'll give you more information on that. If you're watching this now, just know we're not back yet on Trust the Playlist. Trust the Playlist will be not this week, but next week we'll be back on that as well. So we still got a lot of stuff coming. I want to thank the Money Club though. Appreciate Money Club been sponsoring a lot of the Trust the Playlist. We appreciate that. Sponsoring a little too much, but we appreciate you guys.
We're gonna do a little bit bigger though for Christmas.
No. We'll talk about that all. But again, thanks. Appreciate y'all. All right, you know what to do. Be blessed. Stay sharp. Thanks, guys.
All right.